Let me start off by saying I personally was not expecting to add another part to this whole thing. I initially didn't even expect to write 2 parts. But things just keep getting weirder. Not worse, but weird nonetheless. As I said at the end of my last post, not much interesting had happened. However, a couple days after that post, things got a bit stranger. I began to notice more paranormal things than the regular. Even at the convenience store, I would see more people coming into the store than usual. Or maybe people isn't quite right, because they weren't actually people. Of course, there were still normal people, but some, I'd say probably half, weren't people in the normal sense. Like this one guy walked in casually with a knife in their chest, wearing the manager outfit, glanced around, and left. Then when it came to our apartment, I noticed we had company far more frequently than before. Practically every time I walked through the door, there would be a different paranormal being I'd never met before, or even heard of. I'd begun to get used to it all, honestly. I mean, I had already had an understanding of entities before I was introduced to this life. I also wasn't a hardcore skeptic by any means beforehand. Honestly, I always believed there must be some other intelligent beings on Earth to begin with, whether it be creatures or paranormal beings. With all the beings I've seen lately, I've yet to see Jeff again. From what I've heard from Terry, he's been rather busy lately. Missing person cases have also been going up. There's probably a correlation there, but oh well. Though this stuff has been strange, it's not why I'm writing. It's a bit more strange than the usual events. Well, and I have come to classify as normal anyway. I snuck into my good buddy Slendy's room and found some weird shit. Like a little boy sneaking to his older sister's room and finding... I think you know where the analogy is going. Anyway, I ended up getting the weirdest call yesterday about the store being overstaffed for the night shift and that I had the night off. This was weird for 3 reasons. 1, we had yet to be anything but understaffed since I started working there. 2, we had only ever had 1 person working the night shift unless someone was being trained. 3, I was the only full-time graveyard shift worker. Unless they trained some guy over the weekend and I wasn't informed. Or the weekend guy just wanted some more hours, I guess. I don't see why they would already have someone working the night shift in my place. But it couldn't be helped. What the manager says goes. Anyway, the reason I was even able to sneak into his room was because, conventionally, Terry was going out to party at Jeff's house. I assume that's what he meant, at least. When I asked him where he was going as he was heading out the door, all he said was, "I'm going to have some fun with Jeff," and left. It was rather vague, but I pieced it together. Last party they had was at our place, so they must switch houses party to party. Now, to what I ended up finding in his room at first glance, it seemed like a normal room of some guy that likes video games and anime. To be honest, I was kinda disappointed. A bed, computer, closet, and posters of different games and anime. I was about to leave the room with seemingly nothing gained. However, fate had different plans. I heard a moan like... Yeah, no, not even gonna continue that one. I try to keep him a bit more PG-13 for you guys. A moan like a frog giving birth to a whale, yet somehow muffled immensely. It sounded like it was coming from the closet. I jumped as it happened again, only louder. I began to slowly walk towards the closet, pulling out my pocket knife and releasing the blade. In hindsight, I probably should have just left the room, pretended nothing had happened. But considering I had a paranormal being as a roommate and there was a loud moaning coming from his closet, I just wanted to know what he was hiding. I'd be damned if I didn't find out what the moaning was coming from. I proceeded towards the door, getting slower the closer I got. The moaning getting progressively louder. Eventually I reached the closet door, probably only about 30 seconds later, but it definitely felt like an eternity. I readied my knife and prepared the door to open. However, the moment I touched the handle, the moaning that had gotten almost to the point of ear-splitting stopped. I released my grip to see if it would continue again, but it didn't. I slowly began to open the door to see what resided behind the walls. Darkness, a stairway leading down. After seeing that, I let out an audible nope that could probably be heard down the street regardless of the soundproofing. But as that thought came to mind, I realized something. The soundproofing Terry said he had put up, there wasn't any in his room. Doubtfully any in the walls, and the only thing that could have nulled out the sound was a basement that shouldn't exist. Suddenly I heard something running up the stairs. I tried to close the door, but it was too late. A creature lunged at me from the darkness, throwing me onto the ground. Luckily for me, I still had a tight grip on my knife, and so I attempted to stab at it, at what I assumed was its throat. It lunged back and confirmed what I initially thought. This was a living creature, afraid of death. Trying to live, but still attacking out of pure instinct alone. I got to my feet, but it charged at me again, dodging my knife. But I refused to let it get the best of me. Out of pure adrenaline, and those karate classes I took as a kid, I managed to attempt to dodge. But I failed miserably and got tackled to the floor again. This time it stepped on my right hand, which was clutching the knife. The amount of pain wasn't as bad as I expected it to be, but I still ended up letting go of the knife because of it. In a last-ditch effort, I punched it in the head with my left hand a few times before it bit and held a locked jaw on my forearm. It wasn't as smart as I thought, though. When it bit onto my left arm, it loosened its grip on my right, just enough for me to grab my knife again. The pain was unlike anything I'd ever felt before, but the adrenaline coursing through my veins gave me the strength to plunge the knife in its throat. It let out a guttural scream and ran back down the stairs into its lair. After that, I slammed the door shut and tried to hurry whilst I still had my adrenaline rush. I hurried to the bathroom and got the first aid kit, pouring hydrogen peroxide all over my wound. My body began to relax, and I started to feel the full front of the pain only made worse because of the disinfection process. I rinsed it, still gushing blood, and began to bandage it. All I remember next was waking up in my bed with a blood-soaked bandage on my left arm. It ached and stung like all hell, but I managed to pull myself out of bed. As I stood up, I noticed my knife on my desk with a note. I picked up both and read the note while sticking the knife back in my pocket. The letter read, "Look, man, I know you must be interested in everything that happened. I understand when it comes to the paranormal, you're curious, but that doesn't give you an excuse to go into my room, open my closet door, and stab a creature I've been holding for a friend. Luckily for you, it didn't die. Otherwise, you would have had to pay for it, and I know you don't have the money for it. No need to thank me for saving your life. Also, here's your knife back. I take it you don't have any others, so I figured I would get it back for you." After reading the note, I began to leave my room as I initially intended to do. I heard the TV going as I walked through the hallway. "Hey, Terry's that you?" I asked, slightly terrified of the response. "Yeah, come on over. I'm assuming you read my note? I wasn't sure how long you'd be out, so I figured I might as well just make a note in case. Hey, I'm really sorry. Listen, as I said on the note, I understand your paranormal curiosity. No human is just going to be cool with not knowing what's in their roommate's room when there's someone like myself. Next time you're curious about something, just ask me about it so you don't put your life on the line like that again. There's some food I ordered on the table. Get yourself some so you can get some rest." "Well, I'm not very tired anymore, but thanks. I really do appreciate it. I have to ask though, what the ever-living fuck was that thing?" His response was rather unexpected. "You seem to know a lot about creatures and other paranormal things, so I'm just going to be blunt. That was a Rake. People assume that there's only one and you call it the Rake, but that's just not the case. It's shown in normal creatures that exist on the planet. Though there may be very few of certain species, there is very rarely just one. That one must have come from somewhere, so there are others like it that are yet to be discovered. Rakes have been seen all over the world. The likelihood that they're all just the same one is practically zero. You're lucky I weakened that one. Otherwise, you wouldn't be standing there right now." "So, does that mean there are more than one of you as well?" I asked, sounding like I was interrogating him. "The likelihood of that, maybe 20%. You see, I'm not just a creature that came about at some point through some messed up gene pool. Things like Rakes did come about relatively naturally. But I'm something else. Not entirely sure what I am. But I know I'm not naturally occurring. Alright then. So why are you opening up to me like this, like it's no big deal? As I said, man, I don't want you getting hurt trying to find answers that will inevitably lead to your death. Many of the stories told about me are true, but I'm not just gonna let you die because I wasn't open enough to you. Also, it seems like the only things you could really consider friends right now are paranormal. Not like anyone is gonna believe you anyway. He finished, sounding exasperated. I replied with, "Touché." Got my food, sat down with a pretty cool guy that I was amazed I could call my roommate, as well as my friend. But as I sat down, there was a knock at the door. Terry threw on his mask and sunglasses and opened the door. It was Jeff. He was also wearing a mask as he burst into the apartment, clearly distraught. After the door was slammed shut, Terry and Jeff removed their masks. That's when I noticed something. There was more blood than usual coming from Jeff's, everywhere. I was panicked more than either of them. "Holy shit, Jeff, what happened?" He replied with a cough.
"Honestly, I have no idea. I was walking by some convenience store and this guy came running at me and tried to stab me. I managed to avoid his attack at first, but the second cut me up a bit. I figured he was a human and I wouldn't have a problem, but apparently he wasn't."
Terry then spoke up. "Do you know what it was? I didn't think you could lose your edge so easily."
"No idea. I didn't get much of a chance to see what it was aside from the corner of my eye when I noticed him beginning to charge me. After his second attack, I just ran. I didn't feel like trying to take him on barehanded,"
he responded. Terry gave him what I assumed to be a solemn look and said, "Well, I hate to see a friend in pain like this. Head to the bathroom and get bandaged up. You can sleep here tonight." Something was gnawing at the back of my mind. Why was Jeff out here to begin with? I assumed he didn't live nearby since Terry always took his car. So, why was he out here? Did he just get finished with a job or something? I wasn't going to hold these thoughts anymore, so I blurted out, "Why were you out here anyway?" He hesitated on his way to the bathroom.
"I think you already know why."
Then he continued to the bathroom. Shortly after the exchange, I got a call from the manager of my job saying the guy that was working the weekend night shifts had yet to come in and that I needed to get there right away. I told him that I would, since I didn't really have anything else going on. In reality, I just wanted a break from all the crazy shit. That's when I realized something though. It was Friday night. I'd been out for almost a full day. I told the guys good luck and I left the apartment still feeling the aches in my arm. The shift was just as boring as ever, and 8 hours later I was finished. When I came home, I passed the couch that seated 2 people I suppose I would call my closest friends, and went to my room to sleep off everything. Also, I just realized something. I forgot to check what characters were on those anime posters.